Yeah.
Better move. You're gonna go back.
They're chained.
Get out now! Get out! On the ground! All of you on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Don't move!
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
Beatrice, I'm from Wisconsin. I just turned 18 and I'll be voting for my first time in November. I was wondering if you had any advice. How do I vote?
How do you vote? Oh my God, woman, you mean you're asking somebody in Florida how to vote? Good day in the morning.
Of giant ejaculating penises. He displayed the cookies for 7 days for students and kids and teachers to see. No, you can't be colorblind. That's racist. Basically, the end game is the government knows better than the parent what is good for their own child.
To Honolulu the following week for a policy training. Public records show taxpayers picked up his 4-star hotel bill. And this didn't just happen once or twice, but at least 7 other times we found the commissioner was absent from insurance meetings, some while traveling abroad or across country.
During his first year in office, Commissioner Latta missed 2 insurance hearings while on trips to D.C. and to Florida. Now, in between those 2 trips, he took another $6,000 trip to Paris for an economic development conference. Taxpayers picked up that bill.
And as we found out,
dealing with a really uncertain budget situation in terms of its Medicaid funds, in terms of what federal funding looks like in the future. Tax returns in your district are delayed until October. So lawmakers are going to have to formulate a budget plan that they don't really even know how much money they're working with. So just what's your message to California taxpayers and other parts of the state who sort of see these challenges ahead for the state while you yourself have your challenges?
Right. And we are fortunate to have the state legislature and governor that we do. And we are concerned because we don't know what awaits us from Washington, D.C. But the state will have a better sense of the finances after April 15th when taxes are due. The May revise when the budget is updated based on the tax returns will give us a better idea. But that's why we're here now, because the subcommittees in the Assembly and in the Senate that decide the budget that the governor put forward are meeting right now.
Redacted, and all of those scientists that are too afraid to do that inquiry or are producing research around that inquiry, you find all of them and then you realize, holy smokes, this is the biggest cover up. This is, in my lifetime, probably, this is a huge cover up. And somehow I'm in the middle of it all. And I found myself married to the guy who started the company that censors all these people.
Right.
It's a big problem for me.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. It's a big problem for anyone to find themselves in.
Governor Gavin Newsom very publicly stating that he thinks the issue is deeply unfair. His office will not comment on the fact that this hearing is now happening. Meanwhile, Republicans are skeptical about the motivations Democrats have to actually consider these proposals.
Clerk will call the roll.
California lawmakers in the state assembly are set to consider 2 bills that would reverse California law that right now allows trans women and girls to play in girls and women's sports.
My bill's not anti-trans, it's just protecting women and young girls in vulnerable places, bathrooms, locker rooms, and their sports teams.
As the assembly
There's a funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5 in the Evil FB Network, Rumble X. Even YouTube will be joining the Mighty Met 1490 AM at the bottom of the old hour, as we usually do on the good old Tuesday. No public meetings today for Roy, or anywhere around that I'm aware of. So a rare Tuesday off that I'm not jetting out of here, which is good because, I mean, so I'm coming on a little bit late. I've been coming on at 4:30, but tech problems were going all over the place. Had one of those fun days that you have once in a while, but we'll roll it on the government corruption. Partial ceasefire announced by Zelensky and Putin in the Russian-Ukraine conflict. On top of that, Crossfire Hurricane documents get released from El Presidente Donald Trump. Man, it's just like every day. Future elections, we're getting election integrity in. He's signing more stuff on that. Quantifying the Doge cuts cannot come too soon. The stuff with the boys and the girls' bathrooms, get into that in a bit. The legislature wouldn't hear Assaleys, our two Inland Empire Assemblymen, Bill Assaley and Kate Sanchez. Bill Assaley had no girls and boys' locker rooms or bathrooms. Kate Sanchez just said, well, don't worry about the bathrooms, just about how about the sports thing. Both of those are not getting hearings, they're blocking them. Even Gavin Newsom's thinking that. Karen Bass, the embattled mayor of Los Angeles, wants another $2 billion. We gave LA $2.5 billion for the fires out of the state of California budget, which is upside down up the kazoo. Now she's up there wanting another $2 billion to bail out her failed policies. What they say, they went through $1 billion in reserves in 18 months of the Karen Bass administration, reign of terror. They've totally screwed it up. They foobarred it like maybe nobody's foobarred a city before. Second biggest city in the country, Los Angeles, going down the tubes fast. She's up there with the tin cup going, hey, we need $2 billion more to bail us out of our mistakes. No, why don't you try cutting your budget? Why don't you try not spending $1 gazillion on diversity and equity and inclusion and cops are racist and climate change and electric trains and buses and fire trucks that don't work? How about trying not doing any of that? What a concept. This is a problem. Does the rest of the state, well, city of Los Angeles is about 10% of the population. About 4 million, we got 40 million. About 10% of the population is in the city of Los Angeles jurisdiction. They got a lot of clout. They got 10% of the representatives up there. So they're starting with a humongous base to work off of. So that's why she's up there as well. Well, we're trying now to get up there and roll this in. Stunning. Ricardo Lara, the insurance commissioner, just segue into the disasters, the LA fires. Been taking trips on our dime to Tahiti, Mar-a-Lago. No, I guess he probably hasn't went to Mar-a-Lago. The Caribbean, Italy. I think one of them was even how insurance deals with climate change and all that. Well, we don't have any money. The Cal Fire or whatever it is, not Cal Fire, the firefighters. The California fire insurance was supposed to be last resort, is totally broke because we gave $2.5 billion to the city of Los Angeles. Insurance companies are on the verge of bankruptcy. Everybody's pointing fingers. Nobody's coming up with a solution on this stuff. It's absolutely 110 1,000% criminal. We had that clip from Nicole Shanahan, who was an accomplished attorney and had a very successful AI business going, on top of marrying one of the Google founders, or her husband was one of the ones that started Google. So she's probably a billionaire, multi-billionaire. She ain't hurting for bucks. Ran as Robert Kennedy's vice presidential candidate on the independent run, the short-lived one. Backed Donald J. Trump and MAGA. Her big thing is health because her 6-year-old daughter has autism. I guess a pretty severe case of it. And that has been her main focus, why she sold her very successful AI business to concentrate on her daughter. Plus, she went through a divorce and everything else. But you heard her there of saying the government con job. And the tenuous or position, and I don't know if we'll get to it today, but we'll roll it in this week. She did about an hour or so long interview about that. Like she said, sans 3 or 4 of her friends in the very highly educated, very billionaire class of white women or married to guys of billionaires, white women, progressives, which I hate that term. They're lunatic left-wing nuts. Most of them won't talk to her now, because she actually has seen the light. The other 3 or 4, her friends, still talk to her, but they're still like, this is why that polling that came up, if you want to take white ethnicity, Caucasian, whatever, everyone is MAGA except college-educated white women. It's a big issue. Because this was the whole thing about the education and college degrees and women getting I think they get over 60% now of all BA and up degrees now. And you see where this is leading to. Not saying education is bad or women shouldn't get an education or a PhD or that. You should get one that's meaningful. If you go through it, be a doctor like Dr. Kelly Victory, fine. You go through and be a doctor, a fake doctor, like the witch doctor, Barbara Ferrer, the health official that had us all screwed up in COVID and that, not fine. Fake degrees are not fine. And anything, the Mongolian basket weaving and everything else. And we found USC, the University of Student Criminals, University of Southern California, 77 grand tuition, and we've been subsidizing that through the federal and state government, almost $1 billion. You've been paying, you stupid idiot taxpayer, have been paying for all of these stupid idiotic programs. And when it all fails, then they want to tax you some more. The stupidity of this stuff is beyond the pale. I want to get to that first when we ran on the intro. These were climate activists in Nevada trying to block a highway. So I want to run the picture of it. While we just on the silence, so you heard the big deal. So they've got the freeway blocked, as you've seen them do, the 405, the 101, all sorts of them around here. In LA, New York City, downtown, marching in the streets, no permit, no nothing, just all of a sudden shut down the streets. This appears to be, most of Nevada is barren desert. Sans Washoe County, which is the greater Reno, Carson City area, and Clark County, which is Las Vegas. Most of 98.7% of Nevada is just basically desert, very densely populated. I think only 20, I don't even think 20%, something like that. 20%, it's kind of like Arizona. 20% live everywhere, 20% live in around the Reno area, and about 60% in the greater Vegas area. So I don't know which part of the rural area they were in Nevada. But this is what they tried to pull off in Nevada. Let's see if we can make a play. There we go. There's the sirens, as you hear, of that coming in, the Rangers. One was already there. Look at him just blast through the barricade. Yes. He makes a UE. He's telling them to get out of the way. They are not obeying the police commands. So, yes.
All of you on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Don't move!
Get on the ground. This is how you handle these situations. Yeah, you are blocking the highway that people are supposed to be using their motor cars to do that. The whining, crying little screaming yo-yo that's up there, oh, please, and all that stuff. The rest of the guys were just sitting around there. I got it. This guy, man of the day, rolls through their little barricade, says, this party's over. Come in here. We're arresting you, getting you out of the way, allowing traffic to go in. This is the way these things should be handled. We should have loaders with forks on them, like a forklift. Let's get some 966 cat loaders set up on Caltrans. They got them all over the place. Cops call in. There's a frickin' disturbance out there. They're blocking them, blocking the road with their cars. Just scoop the son of a guns off the road. Remember they were doing that on the 405 or the 101 or something in downtown LA. Just frickin' push them off the side of the road. Then let the tow trucks or whatever get to them. Get the traffic going. We cannot. We're done. We are done with the idiocracy. No more. This is what Trump is. Look, when did Joe Biden ever get a ceasefire in Russia? Partial ceasefire or a truce, whatever they're calling it. And Zelensky and Putin announced it. Trump told Putin, Zelensky accepted the deal last week or so. He told Putin, hey, get on the stick, let's start moving this forward. So Putin was dragging his feet. I imagine there might have been maybe not a personal call between Putin and Trump, but I bet you there was some emissaries saying, Vlad Putin, if you don't start knocking this crap off, we're going to be in, hell's going to be paid. Just like this cop, ranger or whatever he was in Nevada. You're blocking the road. We are going to eliminate your little roadblock, and then we are going to arrest you and get you off the highway so you are not impeding the normal flow of traffic and disrupting everyone who uses this road's lives. We need plans like this in place all across the board. And you watch how fast this stuff gets knocked off. Again, man of the day. Absolutely lovely. This yin yang, Jasmine Crockett. I think she's a congresswoman in Texas. Governor Greg Abbott, if you haven't seen, he's in a wheelchair. He's in his 20s. He was jogging, had the unfortunate anti-lottery odds luck. Tree fell on him, broke his spine. That's why he's in a wheelchair. He doesn't have use of his legs. Broke his spine enough that he doesn't have use of his legs. People have been, Jasmine Crockett, since Trump's got elected, has been mouthing off all over the place. She finally got to the point where even most of the Democratic, even some of the far left wingers are not supporting her. This is what she said about Greg Abbott that's been going viral, and rightly so. Here, hopefully, we go.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
Of all the caterwauling they do about you can't say this and you can't use this word and don't call them trannies or whatever. Don't use the word retarded and evil white hillbillies and racists and all that. Governor Hot Wheels to a man who's confined to a wheelchair. Now, if this was a celebrity roast or something, okay, fine. No, she's trying to make it the human rights campaign. She's saying this, like I said, even most in her own party, even the most kookiest of left-wing nuts are castigating Jasmine Crockett today. I don't know what you people in Texas are thinking of voting this yin-yang in there. But she clearly has to go. One of the more entertaining things is the absolute ridiculous stupidity. Well, maybe not entertaining is a good word, but one of these 80-20 issues, no girls, women, or no boys, men in girls, women's sports or bathrooms. 80-20, every poll, at least, minimum. And you still got this contingent. And Nicole Shanahan's going to lay this out in that hour-long interview. When we get to the clips later on in the week, you'll understand why. This whole thing, like the races, Governor Hot Wheels, evil white hillbillies, toxic masculinity, oh, we're all going to die of diesel smoke, we're all going to burn up, climate change, global warming, whatever. The list goes on. It's all meant to control you. All this stuff, this pedophilia, drag queen shows, letting the kids run the classrooms, It's all designed to wrap you in such a frenzy that you don't even know which end is up. This is Amy Reichert. She's run for office supervisor and stuff down in San Diego County. Here we go. We thought.
Ejaculating penises. He displayed the cookies for 7 days for students and kids and teachers to see. No, you can't be colorblind. That's racist. Basically, the end game is the government knows better than the parent what is good for their own child. I was going to open it up and it was going to say, the Jews killed Jesus.
So all Germans are Nazis?
No, actually all Republicans.
Oh, excuse me, all Republicans.
Yeah, all Trump voters, all Tesla owners now. Anybody who wanted to reopen schools, businesses.
A Nazi.
Nazi. Why are you making...
So there you go. Anybody that wanted to open schools, businesses during COVID was a Nazi. Trump's a Nazi. Joe Rogan was a Nazi with that when he was just doing that. Elon Musk, everybody. Anybody that was caught raising their hand like that, oh, they're not, that's a Hitler, that's code word and all that. This is what they've ran. This ridiculous rhetoric. And again, when we get to Nicole Shanahan's interview, and she's had a rare opportunity. You know, very few people get to play in that elite club of billionaires, the Davos rollers, the high rollers that just go everywhere. That's a very, very, very select group, the multi-billionaires. You got to be at least a billionaire just to get in that club or get into the inside of it like Nicole Shanahan was. And like she said, she wasn't into politics until her daughter, which I believe is 6 years old now, and at 18 months was diagnosed with severe autism. And that started her investigating, trying to find out why nobody was giving her answers. Doctors were vague or saying, oh, it's just a mental condition, yada, yada, yada. And like I said, she had some very eye-opening experiences. Some actually told her the truth, but said, I will not say this publicly because I will probably lose my medical license. Look at everyone they went after. All of us who were unvaccinated are saying this was telling the truth. And we said, show us the real science to back up what you're saying. Show us the science of vax work. Show us the science 6 foot distance, 6 foot distancing works. Show us that how the masks are going to prevent the spread of this disease. When even Anthony Fauci said, that's a bunch of bunk, until they figured out 5 years ago, after we're going to lock things down for 2 weeks to stop the spread, and 98.7% of you complied. It's beyond surreal. But we, the people, we the few, we the unclean, in the last 5 years have been proven right again and again and again. And if they would have came out to me with some real scientific evidence to back up any of the claims they were making. Now, if somebody in a free society with no national health care, that or anything else, in a free society, if you want to take the risk, if you assess you got a better chance of survival or surviving longer with the vax versus not, then I have no problem with it. But when you got a bankrupt system in Obamacare, California Medicaid, whatever government-run system, and we're paying for it, and this is basically most of us the only shot we got to get health care. You just can't, there are no doctors. Try and find just an independent doctor to go to. You know, that has an office in local shopping center or something, or, you know, a little medical office building. They're gone, practically. You know, there's a few urgent care centers. How many doctors actually have their, besides dentists? Dentists are the only one I can think of that actually have their own offices, do their own practice. That's almost, at least in California, I think most places, it's a thing of the past. You know, you went to the hospital, either, you know, you got in a car crash or, you know, you went to your doctor and he said, oh, you know, you might need to go get some tests, you know, could be da-da-da, we'll see what's going on. Or, you know, if you found out you had cancer or some sort of leukemia or something, heart attack, that's what a hospital is for. You know, you needed shoulder surgery or something, broke a leg. That's what hospitals and emergency rooms were for. They were not built as primary care physician healthcare units. They're spreading themselves too thin, jacking the costs up. It's absolutely criminal. This is an ABC7 report. We have the whole homeowners insurance crisis going on. We have Ricardo Lara, based on San Francisco and Los Angeles. Is where you can't hardly get in homeowners insurance, and if you do, the costs have went up dramatically. This is what we said, oh, we need an insurance commissioner, statewide insurance commissioner. He's going to straighten all this out. Made the insurance. Now you can't even hardly get insurance. Car insurance is going through the roof. Here's the ABC7 report.
Insurance market. But after reviewing hundreds of public records, we found Commissioner Latta was absent for at least 7 other hearings in recent years while traveling abroad or cross country.
As California's insurance crisis hits a breaking point, the state's top insurance boss is nowhere to be found during the legislature's first insurance briefing of the year, a Senate committee hearing in the wake of the LA fires.
Michael Martinez, here on behalf of Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara.
So, where's the commissioner? Turns out he was at a conference in Bermuda with insurance executives to give a 15-minute speech. Latta did the same thing in March 2023 and 2024.
Here on behalf of Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara.
Missing another Assembly insurance hearing, also while he was on the islands in Bermuda. Yet weeks later, the commissioner was able to make a legislative study tour in the UK for 8 days. And he wasn't late for his climate presentation to the Central Bank of Uruguay.
Uruguay? UK, Bermuda. While California's burning, you can't hardly get insurance. Everybody's sweating it when they see their envelope come in for their insurance company thinking their homeowner's insurance is getting canceled. And this Klondike is doing this.
Later that month. And he definitely did not miss his flight to Honolulu the following week
Hawaii,
for a
for
policy
crying out
training.
loud.
Public records show taxpayers picked up his 4-star hotel bill. And this didn't just happen once or twice, but at least 7 other times we found the commissioner was absent from insurance meetings, some while traveling abroad or across country.
During his first year in office, Commissioner Latta missed 2 insurance hearings while on trips to D.C. and to Florida. Now, in between those 2 trips, he took another $6,000 trip to Paris for an economic development conference. Taxpayers picked up that bill.
And as we found out, this trend continued. From 2021 to 2022, records show Commissioner Latta was absent for the only 2 Senate insurance hearings held that year. According to his schedule, he had prior engagements. Same story the year after that. In March 2023, the commissioner was absent for the first Senate insurance hearing of the year. Why? Records show he was on a taxpayer-funded trip to Toronto for a United Nations conference on sustainable finance. Unclear if there was any relevance to California's insurance market, but taxpayers paid for his 3-night-long stay. Then on May 10th of that year, he missed the next Senate insurance hearing. Unclear why.
Doesn't show up for this Senate hearings, Assembly hearings, 5-star hotels, luxury vacations, Paris, Toronto, Canada. Well, the insurance crisis goes absolutely nuts.
But taxpayers paid for his 3-night-long stay. Then on May 10th of that year, he missed the next Senate insurance hearing. Unclear why. His schedule shows he was working that day.
He travels a lot. He's everywhere but in his chair.
Yet the state told us Commissioner Latta's rigorous meeting schedule is a key part of his commitment to protecting consumers and safeguarding the integrity of the
insurance market. It's a disaster. It's been a disaster ever since government got involved. Insurance commissioner, oh, he's a Democrat. Oh, he actually supports boys beating up on girls in their sports and walking in their locker rooms and exposing themselves. He cares. He's unemotional. Oh, he talks softly. He's a she-man. Told you, ladies, you were going to rue the day that you turn men into women. Rue the day.
I am here, Roy, a little bit early.
Oh, there you go. It's absolutely bonkers nuts. You know, the whole deal. They're canceling, the insurance crisis. LA is trying to get $2 billion more after the $2.5 billion we gave them the fire. Bail them out $2 billion because they squandered all the money. Bass in 18 months. The insurance commissioners doing everything but insurance commissioner. And we're paying for his 5-star hotels and everything and vacations all around the world. And Nicole Shanahan in the Billionaires Club is telling us, yeah, this happens. You're getting screwed. She said, I was in the middle of it, and that puts me in a very tenuous position.
All right, 30 seconds, Roy.
I hope we're not doomed. I think we got to turn it around. When Putin and Zelensky are saying, hey, we got a partial ceasefire going, that's the Trump effect. We'll get into that a little bit more and some other stuff when we join the Mighty Met KMET, as Sean said here in a few seconds.
Here we go, 10 seconds.
And we support America. PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. The rest are those of the program participants who are not endorsed by this program. Or not necessarily those of the
that funky side guitar music. Comes on every minute through Radio live at 5:30 on the mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire and the aforementioned AM band. Join your vast video audience at the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, even YouTube, I think. Man, oh man. Maybe I'll play that clip here in a little bit. The guy, Nevada Ranger. The climate change, Nevada, 98% of it is just basically desert. You got the Reno area, you got Vegas, that's where 80% of the population lives, those little areas, and everybody else is free. Most of it's 2-lane roads, desert. Well, they were on some 2-lane road blocking the highway. So this ranger comes up. And like I'm saying, this is how we should handle these situations. Here in California, we got Caltrans. They got Cat 966, 980 loaders, 950s, have forks in them. If they want to park their cars on the 405 freeway, we should be dispatching the loaders with forks, scooping them off the road, and then call the tow trucks when they're off the side of the road and get them off, and arresting the people. We aren't tolerating this. This is the state trooper here in Nevada taking care of business as we play it. There he is coming up the road. He's got the sirens on. And he just goes right through their little barricade. Voila, it's gone. Then he makes a U-E. Now, I don't know, maybe they had it set up. Maybe this was the guy that was designated, because you got the cops in front and back, or it appears. And he comes out and just starts arresting people right and left. The one whiny chick over there, oh, yeah. Well, this is what we got to get back to doing. If you're blocking the road illegally, we're getting you off the road. If you're coming into the country illegally, we're stopping it. If you're here illegally or unlawfully, you're getting deported. I love this video. Now that's, like I said, this is man of the day. I mean, he's doing his job. Look at all the people backed up for miles. You're out in the middle of the frickin' Nevada desert. You can't turn, you could. But it's probably, and where are you going to go? It'd probably take you 80 miles to make a detour to find a way around this. Gives us hope that we may be able to stop this runaway train that we've been on for far too freaking long. Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, is trying to get another $2 billion on top to bail out their other stupidity. We gave $2.5 billion out of the state funds for the fire deal. Now, because they went through over $1 billion in reserves in 18 months of the Bass administration in the city of Los Angeles. She wants us, the rest of us dummies out here in the Inland Empire, San Diego, Bakersfield, Shasta, Roseville, Eureka. They want you to just give us another $2 billion so we can tell you what a racist, white, hillbilly, evil person you are. Even Newsom is teed off at the California legislature. Wouldn't even vote on Bill Asaley, both of our Inland Empire assemblymen, Bill Asaley and Kate Sanchez. Asaley had no boys or men, get that right, in girls or women's sports, and no men or boys in girls' bathrooms. Wouldn't even bring it. The Democrats up there would not even bring it to a vote. Kate Sanchez said, okay, let's just drop the bathroom issue. Let's just prune it down to no men or women in girls' high school K through 12 sports. Wouldn't even give that a hear. No debate, no discussion, no nothing. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett with the Hot Wheels comment and hot mess of a Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who, if you don't know, is in a wheelchair. He was in his 20s, was jogging down the road and had the reverse artery lods of a tree falling on him, broke his spine, he can't walk. And she's doing it at the Human Rights Conference. But man, they'll call us Nazis and all that. Like Amy Reichert, former candidate for supervisor down in San Diego, said, when we were in COVID, that's what they called Nazis. If we wanted to open the schools or get the economy, open businesses, get back to work. And we're going to get into this later in the week. Nicole Shanahan, billionaire, part of the Google fortune, philanthropist, JFK's vice presidential candidate when he was running the Indy deal, now MAGA's Trump supporter. I just want to play this about 30-second clip. But she exposes, and she was part of a very exclusive club of multi-billionaires that are in the whole very elite circles. Almost there are very few, probably less than 100 out of 8 billion people that ever even get into the inside of this stuff, even close.
That inquiry, or are producing research around that inquiry, you find all of them, and then you realize, holy smokes, this is the biggest cover-up. This is, in my lifetime, probably, this is a huge cover-up. And somehow I'm in the middle of it all. And I found myself married to the guy who started the company that censors all these people.
Right.
It's a big problem for me.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. It's a big problem for anyone to find themselves in.
And censoring us, Google, using our money we sent by force of gun to the government, then, and prove me wrong. I say it was illegally, my belief, illegally, because the government can't ask somebody else to do something that would be illegal for them to do. Ask them to censor us, whether election integrity, COVID, the Hunter Biden laptop, Russiagate, and we could go on for 6 months. There's Nicole Shanahan, who's a part owner and owes her $1 billion plus fortune to Google, telling you have been hosed. We'll run some more clips and go through. I mean, it was a fascinating interview. It's a little over an hour long. We'll run some clips later throughout the week, maybe into next week. It's a long deal. The stuff she rolls out and is exposing is truly mind-blowing. Want to touch on the absolute 1,000%. Well, unexpected. I didn't expect the announcement was going to come from Zelensky and Putin. And it's been scantily covered today of the partial ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, a little bit from Bloomberg. It's hard to find anything on this.
Breaking headlines that just crossed at the top of this hour. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky and the Kremlin have confirmed a partial ceasefire. The U.S. had earlier said Russia and Ukraine agreed to a truce in the Black Sea. For more on all of this, let's go now to Washington and Bloomberg Balance of Power co-anchor Kelly Lyons.
So it's been Zelensky, let me get it out right, confirmed it. Russia said it. We have a partial ceasefire. This is the Trump effect. With the economy and everything else going on. But you know, if there's a success, but that whole goof up, and that was it, that needs to be figured out, that whole thing, how, whatever it was, even if it wasn't ultimate sensitive information, I gotta believe it wasn't because whatever it was, Goldstein or whatever the guy's name that was inadvertently on the text on the Yemen strike. He's not disclosing what it was, or at least I haven't seen it. Maybe it's out there. But everybody, how did you? And it should. That goes to the whole, convenience of using the 3x5 screen. If you're dealing with national security issues, you should not be using it on your regular cell phone and an app somebody could hack into very easily. That was a screw up, whoever did that. Or however it happened. They should not do it again. Nobody's perfect. Trump and his guys are not they're going to make mistakes. But 98.7% of the time, they're right on. Here's Trump on the Doge deal.
And we will look into it, yeah.
Mr. President, some senators have expressed hope that the White House will support a rescission package to codify some of the Doge cuts into law. Where does the White House stand on that? And are you making progress on that?
Which package?
A rescission package to codify some of the Doge cuts into law.
Yeah, well, it'll be great. I think we're going to do that. I think they're going to do it. I think we're also going to be codifying a lot of the executive orders that we've done, which have been very popular. And we're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial, but not with the people, and that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement. They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of this state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas, and we may just end the entire thing altogether because it's just a way of protecting criminals, and nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason, Democrats want to keep and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison. And in the meantime,
no wonder the vast majority of the people are saying, thank goodness Donald J. Trump is back at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Let's just stop doing stupid. It's amazing. It's amazing. Everybody, government does this. And look at all the stuff, just a little over 2 months. All the things that are egg prices coming down, fuel prices coming down, partial ceasefire in the Ukraine-Russia war, getting rid of the Department of Education, setting the process to shut it down, codify the Doge cuts, work on some more, get $4 trillion in investment back in the United States. And again, we could go for days. Trump on elections.
We believe that this executive order is the farthest reaching executive action taken in the history of the Republic to secure our elections. Among numerous other aspects of this executive order, this is going to cut down on illegal immigrants on the voter rolls, ensure that the Department of Homeland Security and the data that they have available is being fully weaponized to ensure that illegal immigrants aren't voting. This will include a citizenship question on the federal voting form for the first time. This executive order instructs the EAC to cut federal funding to states that don't take reasonable steps to secure their election. This calls on the Department of Justice to vigorously prosecute election crimes, particularly in states that we don't believe are in compliance with federal law around election integrity. I could go on and on for a while, sir, but the compliance with National Election Day rules, cracking down and investigating and prosecuting foreign interference in our elections, revoking President Biden's Executive Order 14019, which essentially weaponized government to corrupt and pollute our election process. There's a lot in here, but we believe that these are very important steps that we need to be taking as an administration at your direction to ensure that our elections are as secure as they possibly can be.
Okay. Can I please sign this? You on federal elections, see, I think they're on good standing on this. The federal government has every right to do federal elections. And if we require citizenship on that, if the state of California, the net cases, want to do that, then we're going to have 2 separate ballots or something. If they want to continue, well, anybody who's got a driver's license or anybody that's breathing in the state of California can vote. We're starting to get election integrity, election reforms. One man, one citizen of the United States, one vote. Not people from France, not people from Uruguay, not people from Venezuela or Russia or Ukraine. Citizens of the United States, one man, one vote. Period. End of story. Harry Enton from CNN has been doing some fairly interesting polling for CNN to come up with. Here's his latest, and you know they're trying to skew this as hard against Trump as they can. So, here we go.
I think sometimes it's important to do a little bit of reality check and take a little different spin at the numbers. I'm going to do that right here because all we talk about is how unpopular Donald Trump is. But in reality, he's basically more popular than he was at any point in term number 1 and more popular than he was when he won election back in November of 2024. What are we talking about?
More popular than he was in 2017, more popular than he was 3 or 4 months ago when he just got elected. How could that be?
His net favorable rating right now comes in at -4 points. Compare that to where he was when he won in November of 2024 when he was at -7 points, or March of 2017 when he was at -10 points. So when you compare Trump against himself, he's actually closer to the apex than he is to the bottom of the trough. And of course, that's so important because Donald Trump, historically speaking, has had his numbers underestimated. So I think it's very important to compare him to himself to understand he's actually more popular now than he was when he won, or certainly where he was at this point back in his first term. The bottom line is Trump is more towards the ceiling than he is towards the floor.
Just a side note, up until a couple weeks ago, until YouGov and Marxist and NBC started coming out with these polls, on the Real Clear Politics average, on the favorability rating, on the average of all the polls, he was up like +2. So he was 6 points higher than this. And then all these barrage of polls saying that. Rasmussen still has him up, and Trafalgar and RMG and a few others still have him up by 3 or 4 points on the favorability rating. So even as they tried to skew it as much as they can, one of them came up -11 on the favorability rating. That's so far out of an outlier. That's what's calculating. As hard as they tried to push it down, they couldn't.
So when you do that, it makes my knees hurt. So when you look at this compared to sort of historically, what does it tell you about the percentage of folks that think the country itself, with him at the helm, is on the right track?
This, I think, is rather important because, again, if the polls have historically underestimated Donald Trump, what is a metric that might get at understanding at how popular he may actually be? So let's take a look at the percentage of the country who say that we're on the right track. It's actually a very high percentage when you compare it to some historical numbers. What are we talking about? According to Maris, 45% say that we're on the right track. That's the second highest that Maris has measured since 2009. How about NBC News? 44%. That's the highest since 2004. Wow. The bottom line is the percentage of Americans who say we're on the right track is through the roof. And if you were to compare it to when presidents have historically been reelected, of course, Trump is not constitutionally eligible to run for re-election, but I think it sort of puts it in perspective. 42% of the country says the country is on the right track when the incumbent party is re-elected. And also keep in mind, back when Kamala Harris lost and the Democrats were turned out of power, only about 27 to 28% of the country said the country is on the right track. The bottom line is right now, a much higher percentage of the country says we're on the right track. And finally, Sarah Seidner, I want to put it all in the congressional.
Highest in 20 years on NBC's poll. And your right track or on track is always lower than popularity or anything else. Highest. People are the most optimistic than they have been in decades. They're feeling the relief. In the past 2 months, the collective sigh of relief that's went on of the populi of the United States has been truly amazing.
Generic ballot.
What about Congress?
What about Congress? Because those are the folks who are up in 2026. And take a look here. The Dems versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot. Back in November of 2020, when Democrats won, it was +5 Democrats. Tied in November of 2022, +1 in November of 2024 when Republicans maintain control. And then you look at March of 2025. This number looks a lot more like 2022 or 2024 when Republicans won control of Congress. The bottom line is, yes, Donald Trump's approval rating is lower than compared to a lot of his predecessors, but it's higher than compared to himself. A lot of folks say the country's on the right track, and the generic congressional ballot looks a heck of a lot more like when Republicans win than when Democrats win.
Of course, politics can change in less than a heartbeat. But at the current trajectory, or let's just say the current trend, maybe not the current trajectory, the current trend is, and barring some catastrophic, unforeseen event, I think coming with the election reforms, the election voting reforms, with the policies of Trump should be kicking in. I wish he would have got to the Doge cuts quicker, or the cuts quicker, but it is what the investment coming in. Hopefully we get a resolution to the Ukraine-Russia conflict. That'll save us tons of money right there on the federal budget. We have a lot to look forward to. We have a lot to be optimistic about. That does not mean we can rest on our laurels, think somebody else is going to do it. We're just in the beginning stages of this. So now's the time to be upshifting. We're like in first gear. We're just getting ready to grab second. Hopefully, we're hitting 6th-gear overdrive going into the elections in 26. Maybe we can even start really making some big inroads in California, which I would have said, maybe we could piecemeal a couple more seats like we did in 24. I'm thinking we can make some big gains even in the once Golden State, and that can't come a moment too soon, because we don't want this train to crash. As you know, I've been talking about standing up for our country, doing something. These big box stores stayed open while the little guys closed. Will our voices be heard? Does voting with our dollars work? PatriotSwitch.com gives patriots the power to walk away from the big box stores forever. Stop supporting the enemies of freedom now. That's why PatriotSwitch.com was created, for those who support America. PatriotSwitch.com. Is your car doing the hucklebuck and afraid you will be stuck? Well, head on down to Toyota of San Bernardino, Nissan of San Bernardino, Subaru of San Bernardino, in the San Bernardino Auto Mall, and catch a Camry, look ravishing in a Rogue, or be styling in a Subaru. Don't forget I-10 Toyota in Indio for those of you in the lower desert. You deserve to be the happiest human on the planet. So head on down to one of these 4 great dealerships for the car of your dreams. Spread the word. IE Newswire is now on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 p.m. on Rumble and KMET 1490 AM, 5:30 to 6 p.m. Join all the cool kids who want an eclectic look at the news without all the filters of the evil scoundrels of social media and the despicable dorks of the dominant press. Don't bumble and stumble. Subscribe to IE Newswire on Rumble and roll with the best hillbilly hoedown around. That's it. If you want to buy American, go to PatriotSwitch.com. If you need a new Toyota or Subaru, go to one of Cliff Cummings' great dealerships at the San Bernardino Auto Mall at the 10 and 215 L Freewayos. Get I-10 Toyota down in the lower desert. Oh, man. Again, the winning just keeps happening. And thank goodness it is. Like Trump said, you're going to get tired. You're going to beg me to stop the winning. And even I was thinking, well, yeah, right. Now I'm thinking, maybe we can't handle this much happiness at one time. Hopefully it stays. Hopefully the good news keeps coming. Hopefully we get our act together. Men start being men, women start being women, the earth starts spinning as it should be. That'll do it for today. Time mandatory. You're back here in 23 hours live. It's the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid.
All right, Roy, did you have a chance to check out that article?
I did see it, but
okay.
I come in here and everything was freaking fouled up.
Oh no!
I mean, it seemed like everything was just going there. But I'll hopefully tonight I'll be able to read it and get to it.
Cool. Well, have a good couple days and
you got it.
Keep your chin up there.
We'll try.
Bye now.
See ya.